Hello, manic.mercurian here with kind of a different video. I think this is going to be a mess, but I think it will be a fun mess, so we're going to do it anyway. So I think I'm going to title this something along the lines of like create a chart with me or watch as I create a chart or something. So this is kind of based on the premise that the 12 signs have different, archetypes with them. Like Aries is the ram or the hunter or what have you. So we're gonna focus kind of on what the glyphs are, what the constellations are. And a lot of people say like, well, how come if you actually look at the constellations, they don't really look like what they're supposed to be? Like Aries doesn't really look like a ram, Taurus doesn't look like a bull. Really, none of them, I don't think, actually look. Like if you look at the stars and try to make shapes out of it, it really just looks like a bunch of triangles. I don't know if anyone's ever actually done that, but the reason for that, not only does that not disprove astrology, that actually makes astrology make more sense. If the stars actually looked like what they're representing, then it would be kind of silly to be like, oh, those stars look like a ram, so therefore Aries must, be all about, the head and going head first. That's not how it works. The way it works is the different sectors of space represent, there's different archetypes and energies and themes that different parts of space explore. And so the inventor of astrology, who was a crazy genius, it's debatable if he was even human. That's a whole other story. But the creator of it was genius in saying, okay, this part of the sky represents themes which are, like they can be a metaphor, like a ram is a metaphor for the themes that the part of space where Aries is, or the ram is the metaphor for those themes and energies. Same with all the other zodiac signs. The word zodiac literally means animal. Most of the zodiac signs are represented by animals, but some are not. So this is already so rambly, but this video is based on the premise that you can pick up a lot of information in seeing why was this animal or this person or whatever, why was that chosen as the metaphor for that sign? This is actually something that a lot of like very like newbie or pop astrology gets into. They get into like, oh, you're Cancer, you're the crab, you have a shell or whatever, and sometimes it can be very cliche and it can kind of be off-putting, but if done right, if and you can do this on your own too, really just sit with your sign or your signs and be like, why, I'm Libra, why am I the scales, and really really think about it, and there's actually a lot more information there than what you might immediately see. So anyway, what we're going to do today is I'm going to break down, I'm going to categorize which signs are what, because not all of them are animals. And even the ones that are animals, you can see a lot of information, and we're going to do a Venn diagram. Okay, let's just start doing it actually. Um, so I'm going to show you kind of a breakdown, which I've actually done this in a video way back. It was one of my first videos, but I've grown a lot. I think I could do a little better. So we're gonna make a Venn diagram. So we need some circles. I'm gonna do a really big circle because this first one is gonna be for all the animals. So I'm sorry if you are um, if you are composed of signs that are mostly represented by animals. It doesn't make you any less special. I can break down the animals into more categories too, depending on how messy this Venn diagram is gonna be. But first and foremost, most importantly, zodiac means animal. Most of the signs are represented by animals. So let's make a big old blue circle for all the animal signs. And I'll put in the signs a little later. First, I want to kind of set the categories. So next, I'm gonna do mythical creatures. So this is gonna fit into animals, or maybe I should say mythical animals. Let's see here. No fill. Yeah, and I want to shape it like this for a certain reason that will become apparent later. Um, okay. I don't know why, the reason why I did this is because I was making this chart on my own and I was just bored. I'm very caffeinated and I'm a Gemini moon, so I was like talking in my head. I don't know if anyone else does that or knows anyone with a lot of Gemini placements, but I was just like, I'm bored. I'm kind of, I don't know if I'd say lonely. It's more of like an intellectual thing, but I'm like, I'm just talking to myself in my head. I might as well just film this. So, next, yeah, mythical creatures. Let's see here. Yeah, let's just do mythical creatures, or I'm gonna say mythical animals because there's also some like angels that will come about later, which I guess you could technically say are mythical creatures. Like people are technically animals. For the sake of this diagram, we're gonna separate animals and people, though. Uh, yeah, we're not gonna be technical. Technically, you could say people are animals, but get out of here. They're not for this chart. Okay, and then let's do a people. Probably the second most common depiction is a person. There's animals and there's people. So in the zodiac anyway. So, and it's going to be overlapping because of one sign. Can anyone name that sign? Did I just make a little green circle there? Okay, that's fine. We're just going to leave that for now. But let's make this kind of big if we can. Hopefully I have room for everything. But let's put humans down here. But yeah, can anyone name the sign that is both human and animal? I've talked about it before. I talked about it in my which moon signs can hold their liquor or alcohol video. That was kind of different. But it's Sagittarius. Let's just put Sagittarius on here. So kudos to you if you guessed it. If you knew it, I guess. Sagittarius is, what color should we make Sagittarius? I feel like maybe purple or orange. What color do you associate Sagittarius with? I think some people say purple. I'm gonna do purple. But yeah, so there's a lot of meaning there. That's a very interesting one because it's the only sign that is, let's make it a little bit smaller. It's the only sign that is both human and creature, animal. um, Sag. Let's see if we can actually spell it out, and I'll do lowercase. So yeah, Sagittarius is an animal, and it's a human, and it is a mythical creature because we don't have actual creatures that are both animal and human, or do we? I just heard Alex Jones talking about how scientists are actually combining animals with humans. Not to get into all that, but anyway, we're gonna say that's a mythical creature. Although, yeah, maybe there is a centaur out there. But anyway, Sagittarius is the centaur. Sagittarius is half horse, half animal, or half person. And what you're going to notice with all the animal signs, I've talked about this before, but this is so, like, the reason why I'm saying all this is because if you, like, I want this to be one of your filters when you're looking at somebody's astrology and you see like, wow, they have a bunch of signs that are represented by animals. That actually tells you a lot. This should be a more commonly practiced idea. So all the animal signs are more instinctive, they're more intuitive, more maybe kind of emotional, but you got signs like Capricorn and Taurus there too that are very practical. So them being so practical, it may make you think that they'd be a human sign because they're like smart or whatever. Not to say that the other ones aren't smart. Everybody's smart in their own way, but uh, but it's not so much like smart or not smart. It's not that any sign is better. It doesn't. It's more like intuitive versus analytical. All the animal signs are more intuitive. They're not so interested in like analyzing a lot. So you can see, what I'm doing right now. I have a lot of human signs in my astrology. I'm constantly analyzing everything. I'm thinking about everything. There's always these wheels turning. That would be very different. Like this would be just overwhelming and not worth the energy for someone who's has astrology that's very animal ruled because they're more just intuitive. They're not as analytical, if that makes sense. So it's just I want to really stress neither one is better or worse than the other. It could be really powerful to be all animal and be super instinctive and intuitive, and especially with like timing. They're very good with timing or being personable because they're more kind of in the moment, I think. That can be very advantageous. And likewise, being very intellectual, very analytical, that can be advantageous too. Having a healthy mix can be advantageous. Being one extreme can be advantageous. But Sagittarius has the task of being both. Sagittarius is very mental and they're very emotional. They're very analytical and they're very intuitive as well. That could, that sounds like a superpower. That sounds super awesome, but it also gives them a lot to deal with. So sometimes Sagittarius can be a total mess because they're feeling and thinking so many different things. They have so much on their plate, but sometimes it can be very beautiful if it's kind of balanced. You know what I mean? Okay, but I did leave a blank. Excuse me. I left a blank, an intentional blank between mythical animals and animals, so that kind of implies that there is another mythical animal that is not human, and that is correct. Does anyone know what there's only two mythical creatures in the zodiac. One is Sagittarius. What's the other one? I'm gonna let you guess it. It's Capricorn. Both Capricorn and Sagittarius are combinations of two different creatures. So Sagittarius, we already talked about, is half horse, half person. It's a centaur. And Capricorn is half fish or serpent, half goat. And there's a lot of meaning there as well. What color would we do for Capricorn? I almost want to do like I want to do a custom color here. I want to do, it's kind of like that teal color, but maybe like darker. Because Capricorns are dark. Just kidding, maybe. But, Capricorn is half goat, half fish. That is a big deal because they are the only sign that can swim in the ocean. They can start out from the depths of the ocean, the very bottom of everything, the rock bottom or the watery bottom, and they can swim through the ocean up to the surface, get their two little hooves and like crawl onto the freaking beach, and then they can crawl up the hill and crawl up the mountain and get to the top of the mountain. So Capricorn is the self-made man or self-made woman. They're the one who they're the only one who went through that full range from the very bottom all the way to the very top. So that's common with Capricorns. That tells you a lot about Capricorns. And with this Venn diagram, Capricorn is a mythical creature, which I think is kind of interesting because Capricorn is probably like the most realistic sign, the most practical sign. Capricorn is not interested in any nonsense or woo-woo stuff. They probably don't believe in astrology, no offense. If you're listening to this and you're Capricorn, you probably believe it. But, my brother is Capricorn, ascendant and sun, and he's still skeptical about it all. So, so my point is, it's kind of funny, out of all the signs that would be mythical creatures, like, I think Sagittarius makes more sense. They could be kind of out there, but Capricorn, like what? But I don't know. Maybe we can kind of think about that and project. Honestly, I kind of don't have an answer, so maybe I'll leave that up to you guys. Why would Capricorn be a mythical creature? Out of all the signs, one of only two signs that is a mythical beast. It's kind of interesting. I think there is. I think on the down low, on the, like low key, there's some mythical stuff going on with Capricorn. Like Capricorns are kind of wild. They have this like mysterious side to them that they keep under wraps, almost like Scorpio, except with Scorpio, it's a what do they call it? Like an open secret. Like it's a secret that Scorpio is supposed to be mysterious, but how mysterious are you if everyone knows that you're mysterious? You know what I mean? But with Capricorn, they got a lot going on. Capricorn can be very intense and sexual. Remember, Capricorn is a sign of Mars's exaltation, so there's like a Mars influence with Capricorn. So they've got a lot of stuff that they keep private. You know what I mean? So maybe that's like the mysterious, potentially mythical side. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Okay, but I want to add another category to this Venn diagram here. So let's see here. Yeah, let's get some gray going on. Let's add another circle, and we're gonna do objects. And objects will not cross over with animals, but it will cross over with humans. So that's kind of weird. What does that make you think of, like cyborgs or robots? Um, let's see, I'm kind of running out of room here. Let's do objects. Whoops. Objects. And I spelled objects wrong. Can anyone tell me what sign? There's only one sign that is just represented by an object, I would say. I mean, there's maybe kind of two, depending on you could say that there's one or two signs that are represented by objects. Um, One is kind of debatable. That's why I made a transition or a overlap between objects and humans. But what is the one sign that is always just represented as an object? If you said Libra, I would say that's correct. Sometimes Libra will be represented by someone like a person holding the scales, but Libra is always the scales, and Libra, it's the scales. It's not the scale holder. It's the scales itself. So Libra is, and I think that's an important distinction. Let me put it on here as I'm talking, if I can multitask. I want to make Libra like this really light color, but I don't know, or maybe like a pink. I'm gonna make Libra pink. um, but yeah, I think that's really well. Okay, back to what I was saying. So it's an important distinction that Libra is not a person holding the scales. Libra is straight up just the scales. Libra is the most detached sign, and I think this can be surprising when we see Libra. Libra people can be so animated and so kind of bubbly, like almost like a water sign, but they aren't. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them trick you. Libra is a complicated cat, and beneath it all, they're very detached. And being so detached and almost kind of empty allows them to empathize with every other point of view. So they can kind of navigate it all because of that detached, almost emptiness in a way. So so let's see here. So Libra is the scales, right? Libra is the scales. They're not the person holding the scales. They are the scales. Why is that an important distinction? Because the scales, I guess I was gonna say they don't judge, but I guess they do judge, but they are not including themselves in the matter. They're being objective. There's an objectivity there. If it was a person holding the scales, I almost disagree with that representation because that would imply that there are three things going on. There are the two things being measured by the scales, and then there's the person measuring them. So that allows room for the person to apply their bias onto what they're measuring or observing. But like I said, I don't think that's a fair representation because Libra is truly, ultimately, they are the scales themselves. They are, an inanimate object. They are, not to say that you're an inanimate object if you're Libra, but in a way you kind of are because you are objective. That's your power. You're just saying, okay, let me picture these two things, these two options, let me weigh them. Libra is almost not even in the picture. And that's why some Libras can actually kind of open up to spirituality more so because it's almost like they are a ghost or something. And that can be very difficult. It can also be very advantageous, just like everything. Everything has two different sides to it. We live in a bipolar universe in so many ways. But yeah, so I'm kind of rambling now, but Libra is the one sign that is just ruled by an object. And that's why I would go as far as to say that Libra is the most detached sign. Libra is also the sign of Saturn's exaltation. So Saturn has an influence there, and that's something we may forget. We think of Libra as being Venus ruled, which it is. There is that side to it where Libra can be so um, animated and sing-songy. Libra's very charming. Libra's very pleasant. But Libra is also very detached. Libra is skeptical. Libra wants the true reality. It wants to really understand things, and you have to remove your own biases to do that. So anyway, Libra is the one object sign. So has anyone guessed what is? I feel like I'm teaching a class or something. A really unorganized class. What is the one sign, at least the way I'm breaking it down, because I'm in charge here, this is my channel. What sign would be the one that is going to fill this overlap between object and human? This is kind of perfect because this sign does deal with like technology and cyborgs and robots, aliens. That would be Aquarius. What color would be Aquarius? I'm thinking like a light blue for Aquarius. And I don't know how many of these color associations are like technically correct or how many are just in my own mind, but let's see. I want something a little darker than that though. Well, sure, whatever. We'll do that. Okay. Aquarius is the water bearer. And that's why I put it in this kind of in between area. Like Libra is often just, or excuse me, did I say Libra? I meant Aquarius. We're talking about Aquarius now. Aquarius is the water bearer. I put it in this in between area because water bearer implies that it is a human, but water bearer could be an object, like a water bearing object. Water bearer, the Aquarius is often represented as just a vase, like dumping out some water or holding some water, or it could be a person holding the vase with water or dumping it out. Um, Either way, there's a vase involved with some water or some kind of other vessel for water. But the Aquarius, I feel like in this instance, it is the person um, holding the water or holding the vessel which contains the water. There's this essence of like humanity involved. Aquarius is called the water bearer because they're not a water sign. That throws a lot of people off. I put it in blue and it's aqua and it's the water bearer. It should be a water sign, right? But no, it's not. It's air. Aquarius is very detached. If you know the signs at all, if you know people with these signs, you'll know Aquarius doesn't seem like a water sign at all. They're very detached. They're in the object category. So Libra and Aquarius are more detached than any of the signs, I would say. So why is Aquarius the water bearer? There's this connection to water, even though they aren't a water sign. That's confusing for beginners to astrology. So the reason why is because there's different ways of going about this. So Aquarius is said to conjure up the water. So remember, water is about intuition, emotion. Aquarius itself is not an overly emotional sign. Aquarius can be very emotional, but it doesn't know how to express it. It doesn't know like what to do with that, so it kind of just detaches from it. But through Aquarius's, and this is kind of like the ideal version of things, but through Aquarius's deeds, through their humanitarian nature, through their compassion, through their drive for to promote, wisdom, to find wisdom and to dispense wisdom, to help other people, to make the world better. Aquarius has a lot of like utopian visions. Through all of this wisdom and helping people, that's what conjures up the water. And again, water is intuition and emotion. So that's what it brings up, that intuitive ability and the emotion in other people, the feelings, the intuitive information, all of that stuff. It brings up that in other people. I know that was a stretch, but that's what it is, and that tells you a lot too. Um, the way I've personally experienced it is, when you are, you can make it kind of literal. When you are the person that comes across water, like let's say you and your friends are very thirsty and you haven't had any water and you come across that water. I've had this kind of weird experience where as soon as I got to the water, my immediate reaction was to give it away to my friends. And I can be selfish sometimes. I have Venus in Leo, but in that instance, there was something about, I have to share this. And this is a metaphor. This is a metaphor for when you find the wisdom or the information or the ability to help, to make things better, there's this drive to give it away. And that is the essence of Aquarius. You don't have to be an Aquarius to experience this, but if you do have strong Aquarius placements, this is what you're all about. This is what you're meant to do. Um, I also notice a theme that the more detached signs, I think, are sometimes able to help others more. They have themes which involve helping others. I don't know if it's because not being so emotional um, kind of aids their ability to help others. I'm not totally sure. I'm still thinking about that. But Aquarius and Libra are the object signs. They are the most detached. Aquarius is kind of that bridge, though, between animal, or between person and object, between human and object. So that's what I would say for that. Um, and then for these other human signs, let's do that first here. So Other humans, we've got the Mercury ruled signs. So what would those be? They would be Virgo and Gemini. So let's add Gemini first. I kind of picture Gemini like a yellow or orange, but we already have yellow over here, so let's make it orange. And then Virgo, which I picture is kind of like a green color. It's an earth sign, so that works, right? And oh my god, this is gonna be so cluttered, but I'm gonna make this more confusing, maybe. And let's get like a pink color, or yeah, like this kind of bright pink color. And I'm gonna add another category here. So, does that make any sense at all? Let me see what that looks like. It's kind of chaotic, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So there's another category, and this sounds weird, but let's just freaking do it. So angels, and that may sound very weird. What size did I do for the other ones? Like 60, I think, maybe. But yeah. And in angels, I put Virgo and Aquarius, and you may see that and be like, "What? No way! These signs are dicks. They're not angels." Excuse my language, but no, it's true. So, why are they angels? Okay, so Virgo and Aquarius often are represented by angels. They're depicted as angels. You know, Aquarius is the water bearer. Sometimes it could be an angel. It could be a water bearer with wings on its back. Virgo is the maiden. Well, you can talk more about that, the maiden or the virgin. But it's always a woman. She typically has, or not typically, but sometimes has wings. Sometimes she's an angel. So am I saying that Virgo and Aquarius are better than the other signs? That they're enlightened, they're like the holy ones, and they're the no. I'm not trying to glorify Aquarius and Virgo at all, because no sign is better than any of the others. I'll say that a million times. You know, Aquarius, and I think there's the stigma with Aquarius and Virgo too, because they can be very critical. They can give unsolicited help, which comes off as condescending. These signs can be very condescending at times, critical. But this condescending and critical nature, hear me out, is the dark side of helping people. They may be kind of cold or blunt at times. They may come off as critical, which may not be helpful. But the reason why they're doing so is because they think that they're helping. They think that they have information or experience which maybe somebody else doesn't. And so if they provide that, they can better their situation. And that's a slippery slope, because you have to know when someone is receptive to that information, or when they truly need it, when it's truly helpful. That's something that Aquarius and Virgo have to explore. But if you kind of can't tell already, that's where I'm getting at. That's angels have to do with helping people. That's why it's not that angels are like so benevolent or they're so amazing. It's just that they have themes involving coming down and helping the less able or less knowledgeable or whatever. So that's not to say that they're better. That's not to say that Aquarius and Virgo are better. And this is a whole thing that, again, like I said, Aquarius and Virgo have to figure out for themselves. You know, you are, if you have strong Aquarius or Virgo, you are meant to help other people. That's why you're an angel, quote unquote. That doesn't make you better though. And that's something that Aquarius and Virgo have to deal with too, is like there's a lot of pitfalls there. You don't want to get stuck, you know, helping people that are just soaking up that energy. You also don't want to come off as critical and be helping people that don't want your help, that feel like they're fine on their own. Um, yeah, there's kind of a lot of things there, but in its, you know, ideal state, and where every Virgo and Aquarius is meant to go on some level in their own way, you know, they are meant to find a way that they can help people. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm Virgo sun. I'll be transparent about my own astrology. I'm meant to help people, you know, so this is something I've experienced myself. Little bit about Virgo, since we haven't talked about that on its own, and Gemini for that matter. I haven't forgotten about you either. But Virgo and Gemini are the people signs. So this whole side, let me get my cursor back. So this whole side to things that we've kind of spent most of our time on, all the signs here other than Capricorn. Sorry, Capricorn, but not talking about you right now, but all these other signs that are humans or objects or angels, which are humans, I guess, in this for the sake of this activity exercise. All these signs here are the intellectual signs. They're the analytical signs. So these are the signs that are going to be really chatty, analytical. Um, they're going to be the ones that are more interested in taking some little thing that doesn't matter and just analyzing the crap out of it anyway, if that makes sense. These other signs like Capricorn and all the other ones that I haven't put on here yet are can be stressed out by that. Their process is just different. They're more intuitive. Not saying they can't be analytical, and like I said, there's a lot of pragmaticism. Like Capricorn is very practical, but part of their view of practicality is not getting lost in analysis and spending all this mental energy on issues which may be very trivial. Okay, but these intellectual signs, they have the mental energy to expend. They enjoy the process. That's why they can have these like really nitty gritty conversations about things that are just so random or so irrelevant at times, I guess. So that's something, again, I'm providing this so you can kind of categorize the signs in maybe a new or different way. This like the more different categories and filters you have, the more it kind of enriches your ability to read charts and understand people's astrological makeup, because I don't know, it allows you to see other patterns, I guess. So for instance, um if someone has Gemini sun, Aquarius moon, Sagittarius rising, those are all human signs. So this person's going to be very analytical, very intellectual. They're going to like some like philosophical debates and stuff. You know what I mean? And the same is true of any, Sagittarius, Gemini, Aquarius, Virgo, Libra. They're all intellectual. They're very, in their heads. They're very mentally oriented. Real quick about Gemini, I guess I'll go through all the 12 signs. So Gemini is represented by the twins. I think this is maybe the most straightforward sign I've covered so far. It's the twins. This is clearly human. It's two humans. It's two people. So Gemini is like famous for being two people rolled up in one. And Gemini's glyph is the Roman numeral 2. So there's this like duality with Gemini. But I mean, like, I can see how Gemini does go back and forth on things, kind of like what I'm doing right now. They can be like, well, yeah, this is true, but there's this other side, and they kind of flip back and forth, back and forth. So that's why they can seem two-faced or like liars to certain people. I think a lot of people don't understand Gemini. They don't understand the multifaceted nature of Gemini. It's a little bit like Libra. Libra can go back and forth, but what I'm getting at is I don't think I don't think it's really accurate to say Gemini is two different things. It's two different people. It's two different sides. There's this duality there with Gemini. I think Gemini sees many, many different sides to things. There's like this whole range. I think Libra more sees things as a dichotomy. And there's this kind of narrowing as you go through the air signs. You start out with Gemini, where it's very eclectic. There's so much variety. There's so many different sides to everything. There's at least 3 sides to everything. And then you get to Libra, the next air sign, where there's more 2 sides to things. It's yes or no. It's a little bit more black and white, but we haven't decided on what we want between black and white yet for Libra. And then lastly, Aquarius, the last air sign, is more focused. It's more a one-track mind. It's a fixed sign, so it's more stable for an air sign. Air is not stable, but still, for an air sign, relatively, Aquarius is stable. So that's kind of how I view the air signs. I don't know if you would agree, but I've never fully been on board with Gemini being 2 different sides. Maybe Gemini is 2 different people, and each of these people has different sides, so that's where it gets really confusing. But Gemini is the 2 people because Gemini has that complexity. It has the different sides to it. And it's clearly a human sign. I think that's pretty straightforward. Gemini is intellectual. And it's not about helping people like Aquarius and Virgo. Just kidding. Not saying that other signs other than Aquarius and Virgo aren't about helping people, because a lot of people do have that in their astrology. Like, a lot of us are meant to help others. But Aquarius and Virgo in particular, that's like what they're about. That's one of their biggest themes. And then, did I talk about Virgo? Virgo's the virgin, not because it's inexperienced or it's like a baby or something. Virgo is the virgin because it purifies things. It makes things new again. It refines things. You know, like Virgo, like probably like a really big cliche with Virgo is like, oh, they're into cleaning. And not every Virgo is, but that's just a good kind of cliche, a good metaphor for when you clean something, it doesn't make it new, but it makes it like new. It makes it, you know, more pristine, more virginly, if you will. It's not actually a virgin. Virgo, in many cases, has been around. Virgo has kind of like Capricorn has this like secret. Let's not talk about that. But that's kind of just what I want to say. I think there's some confusion there, but that applies not only to what Virgo does, but what Virgo is. They may seem kind of childlike. Same with Gemini and Virgo, the two Mercurian signs, the two signs ruled by Mercury. They both have this like childlike innocence about them at times, but that's because they're all about learning. To learn, you have to be open. And when you're saying when you're having this approach of being open and being like, oh, you know, tell me more, some people take that as being like, oh, you're naive, you're inexperienced, you don't have your own stance yet, you don't have your own opinion. But sometimes Gemini and Virgo, as well as these other intellectual signs, they may have their own opinion. They're just interested in learning yours. They're more interested in absorbing information than they are giving it. Although Virgo can be a lot more about giving information as well. It kind of just depends. Anyway, enough about all that. Let's get into the animal signs. So yeah, I left this big open expanse here. And I might add another category here too, but let's do the more straightforward animal signs first. So let's do I'm gonna add Taurus here. And I don't want to make a new color. So I can't be bothered to do that. So let's add Taurus, and I forgot what size I made it. 48? 50? This is gonna bother me. Yeah, that works. Let's add Taurus. I actually don't like that color, so let's do a different kind of green. Yeah, like a standard kind of green. Standard green, we'll call it. Taurus is pretty straightforward, and I like that about Taurus. Taurus is simple. Simple is not a bad thing. We need simplicity. Simplicity is underrated. With Taurus, Taurus is fixed Earth. Earth is like kind of slow to change. It's very steady, very stable, you know. And with I got this from another person. I forget who I heard this from, but they said the Earth signs are like an ecosystem. They're very slow. They're always changing, but slowly. They take time to adjust. And I think, you know, what better sign to say that with than Taurus, which is fixed Earth. So they're very stable. If you want someone very stable and consistent, probably go with Taurus. Taurus is straightforward. So anyway, so Taurus is straightforward because they're the bull. Bull is an animal. They're the bull because they're a very gentle creature, very gentle, kind of you know, just slow, chilling, eating grass. Tauruses like to eat a lot of the time. They enjoy their food. They're kind of sedentary, if you will, like a cow or a bull. But if you mess with the bull, then you get the horns. Taurus, very chill, very gentle, chilling, enjoying themselves in the sun, eating, living their good life. But yeah, if you mess with them, um, I wouldn't say they have a fiery side necessarily, but they have like clear limits, clear boundaries. You cross the line, that's not happening. Get out of here. We're done. So that's pretty cool. They know their boundaries. But they're an animal sign. You know, just like all these other signs I'm about to go through. They uh, they they're more intuitive. Taurus, like Capricorn, is very practical, very down to earth, not interested in like woo woo or, you know, crazy stuff. They want to go with what's what they could sense, what their immediate senses, but still it's more intuitive though, and that's very interesting because it may be tempting to group Taurus and Capricorn with these other intellectual signs, but actually a lot of their process is more intuitive or more through feeling, kind of feeling out their situation. um, so I don't know, just think about it, think about that, I guess. Another very straightforward sign would be Aries. Let's make Aries like bright red. So Aries, but I don't want to put it next to Taurus because red and green don't really look good together. Let's put it over. I don't want to put it over here because I might put another category there. I guess we can put it over here. Aries is the ram, also very straightforward. Aries and Taurus, they're the first sign, so they're pretty straightforward. Aries is the ram, so ram butts heads. You know, Aries has that force of it in general. It's like a sledgehammer. It's like if we're gonna do something, let's just do it. It's that simple. It's also a simple sign. With Aries, things are very black and white, and having that simplistic approach is what allows Aries to be so confident. These other signs that are more cerebral, like these human signs like Gemini, Virgo, Libra, they may come across as less confident because they're thinking about everything. Everything's complicated for them. There's this whole bureaucracy of different interests and factors to take into account, and that has its time and place. You know that's. I mean, there's nothing. None of this is better or worse than any other approach, but with Aries, you don't have all that. It's like screw the details. If we're gonna do something, let's just do it. Let's just do it hard and fast. Let's get it done. Let's get it done quickly. You know, so if you need that approach, just depending on what it is, that's what you need an Aries for. So Aries is represented by the ram because rams have that approach. It's just like I'm just gonna go in with my head, just like hit it with my head. Super simple, blunt, straightforward. Let's get it done. Boom, like a hammer. So that's Aries. Aries also rules the head. Ram butts with its head. Aries rules the head because it goes head first into things like a ram. Boom, done. Okay, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. We haven't put Cancer in here yet. That Cancer is going to be part of this maybe separate category. Maybe I should just do that. I was thinking of maybe either doing a separate category for like crustacean or invertebrates, because invertebrates have a hard shell. So I guess that would just be Cancer and Scorpio. Or we could do aquatic animals or both. But that would be really complicated. Hmm. So the aquatic would be, I guess, just Pisces and Cancer. Whoops. Pisces, Cancer. Well, hmm. I mean, I don't think I have room for all of those. What are the other signs we haven't done yet? So Aries, is that all of them? No, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. We're gonna leave. I'm gonna write this down. Cancer, Leo. Leo is very straightforward too. Let's do that one. Leo I picture is orange. I know Gemini's already orange, but I don't care. I'm just gonna do it anyway. So let's put Leo here by Taurus. Leo the lion, also straightforward. I think Aries, Taurus, and Leo are probably the easiest signs to learn, even if you don't have signs that, even if those aren't your signs, they they're straightforward. I feel like so I won't spend too much time on it. But Leo's the lion. Lion represents pride. Lion is like the king of the jungle or whatever. So the Leo wants to be on top. They want all that kind of attention, and all that attention. There's two different sides to it. Leo, the lion. Lion has lion pride. It takes care of its pride of its family group. Leo's a very family oriented sign. Um, and that there's two different sides to it. So the Leo wants all the attention and wants that fame. You know, it says, "Look at me, I'm." I almost don't want to say confident because to them, I almost think confident is neutral. Like confidence is zero, and when you add insecurities, that's where you get less confident, if that makes sense. So confidence is like actually a natural state. It's like just emptiness almost. It's only when you add on extra baggage or information or variables that you get less confident. That's why Leos and Aries for that matter don't understand people that are not as confident as they are because they say like I'm not confident, I'm just like myself. I just don't think about it. You know what I mean? So they have that um lack of like Gemini, Virgo, Libra, these other signs, they're always observing themselves. So they're always like, "Oh, how am I doing that? Could I have done that better?" And there's different pros and cons to that. But Leo doesn't so much think about it. It's more just in the moment, like I'm gonna go out there, I'm just gonna do it. They don't even think about that. They just do it. Like Nike, just do it. Same with Aries. So Leo the lion, more instinctive. All these signs are more instinctive. They're animal signs. Um, what does that leave us with? Just Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. Wait, one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. That leaves those three signs. So, hmm, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. Let's do it in that order. And I'm gonna make Pisces this kind of light blue. I think Scorpio, Cancer. Yeah, I don't know. Sure. Pisces is the fish. Why is Pisces the fish? Okay, well, they're an animal, so we already covered that. The animals are instinctive. Pisces this is an easy one. They're, of course, very instinctive, very intuitive, very emotional. All of this you'd expect from an animal sign. Let's see here. And they're probably one of the most instinctive and intuitive and emotional signs. So there's all that going on. They're the fish because the fish is unique, because the fish is the only animal here that is soft on the outside and on the inside. Fish do have bones, obviously, but like they're super slippery. They're super they're non-physical in nature. So fish are physical things, obviously, but it's a really great metaphor for non-physicality because they can just slip and slide. They're very malleable. They can slip through your fingers. And Pisces is the fish. They're not only filled with water, like being an animal, they're filled with water, but also they're surrounded by water. So they're surrounded by emotion and intuition. They are emotion and intuition, and they're surrounded by emotion and intuition and creativity, all of those water keywords. So that's where you get Pisces the fish. And let's kind of wrap this up here. So let's throw on. I'm thinking Scorpio would be this like deep kind of red color. And let's put that over here a little bit away from Pisces. Scorpio is pretty straightforward too. It's the scorpion. I think everybody knows that, right? Scorpio, scorpion. Pretty big leap there. Scorpio is the scorpion because they have the shell. Scorpio and Cancer are, let's throw on Cancer too. Scorpio and Cancer are the only invertebrates. So they have a shell. I'm going to do Cancer as like a dark blue. And there. Whoops, there. So okay. Let's see. What if I do this? Okay, so these are aquatic. Let's do aquatic. Yeah, that fits there. Aquatic. So Cancer and Pisces are both. Well, okay, so this grouping, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, they're all the three water signs, but Cancer and Pisces are unique. They're unlike Scorpio. Cancer and Pisces are purely aquatic animals. So, I mean, that kind of just fits with them being water signs, I guess. They are water signs. They are kind of consumed by emotion. I mean, Cancer and Pisces, even more than Scorpio, are just so sensitive, so emotional, so intuitive though too. With that emotion comes, with that emotional intelligence comes the intuitive psychic ability. So that's the gift there. That's why I think being emotional almost has like a negative connotation, but really it's no better or worse than being cerebral, like I keep saying, or both, like Sagittarius. Being so emotional, these are the very intuitive signs. These are very clairvoyant signs. Cancer is very clairvoyant with their family, especially, or people that are very close to them. And Pisces is kind of clairvoyant with everything, which even that, we have like a super positive connotation, but that could be challenging too. I mean, Pisces can be a mess sometimes. It's hard to be the last sign, the most psychic and intuitive sign, the fish, which has no structure. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's always a like a plus and a negative. There's a pro and a con to everything. But there's that kind of grouping, and that kind of makes this distinction between Cancer and Pisces versus Scorpio. Scorpio is the scorpion, so it's actually more terrestrial. It can hang with the earth signs and maybe compose itself. It has the structure um, enough to, like, Scorpio could be intensely emotional just like Cancer and Pisces, but it keeps it under wraps. It wants to control it, keep it structured, keep it controlled. Maybe more, Cancer keeps things a little bit controlled. It has that shell, but it's still surrounded, it's immersed in the emotion. Scorpio has the shell, and it likes to stay on dry land, if you will. It likes to keep things more practical if it can. Um, but Scorpio and Cancer are the only invertebrates. What color would invertebrate be? Maybe like a light purple? I don't know if you're that way like I am, but I associate colors with kind of everything. Not something I like think about all the time or anything like that, but for an exercise like this, invertebrate, it's just something I think about. So okay. Scorpio and Cancers are invertebrates. If that's just sounds like a long word, you don't know what that means. It's they don't have backbones. And I'm not saying don't that's not where I'm trying to go with this. I'm not saying like Scorpio and Cancers don't have backbones. They definitely do. Yeah, for sure. You know, they almost a little bit like Taurus. You know, if you mess with Scorpio or Cancer, they usually know where their limits are pretty well, so they will not take that at all. What I was trying to get at is the invertebrate animals, the invertebrate creatures, instead of having bones on the inside, they have their bones on the outside. They have that hard shell. That's where I was really trying to go with this. So, um, it's not actually about, you know, they do have a backbone. It's just that their backbone is surrounding them. So, yeah, I guess you could take that and run with it maybe. But yeah, so Scorpio and Cancer, they both of them have soft insides with hard outsides. I feel like that's pretty easy to kind of understand where that is going. You know, especially when you meet them, they kind of come across as like, I'm super tough. And they are tough for sure. But they have that kind of like outer edge of like, don't mess with me. I'm super tough, which they are. It's not a lie. But if you kind of get to know them a little better, and if they're very comfortable, you can see that they're kind of a softie, like Drake, for example. I think he has a bunch of Scorpio placements. Um, he's a we know he's an emotional softie. Not that that's a bad thing. Everything has a pro and a con, but yeah, Cancer and Scorpio are soft. They just have that outer kind of edge. You know, and again, you can contrast that from Pisces, which they don't even have an outer edge. They're just like, I'm a softie, deal with it. So this looks kind of like a mess now, but hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. And this is, like I said, it's not extra filter you can use. If someone is like Aries Sun, Leo Moon, Taurus Rising with a stellium in Cancer, okay, those are all animal signs, so they're gonna be instinctive, intuitive. They're not gonna be so much interested in like really complicated dialogue. You know, that's just gonna be draining. It's gonna seem uninteresting and unnecessary to them. They're gonna be more interested in like doing shit, doing stuff. They're gonna be more action oriented. They're gonna be more like physically oriented as well. Um, Not all of the animal signs, but a lot of them are more interested in like physical. You know, they're not so much living in their heads like these human signs. Did I offend a bunch of people, or did you learn something? I don't even know, but let me know what you think in the comments about this. Is this something you've thought about? Have you noticed other? There's so many different ways of taking these glyphs and symbols. So if you've kind of noticed something that you think is interesting or useful about, you know, a certain glyph or maybe a certain category of signs, let me know because I would love to hear it. But anyway, hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you later. I'm gonna get out of here so I don't ramble, but see you later. Bye.